Hello everyone, welcome
Hello.
back to the channel. I appreciate all the support from the last video. Again, I'll ask you guys continue to support the channel by liking, sharing. That way the message can go across. All right. Today we are about to have something very interesting. We are addressing some questions that we've been getting from lots of friends, families. I've gotten quite some few emails since our last post. I thought it would be a great idea to address some of those questions today. And I brought my beautiful wife with me as well to give her perspective, because I know a lot of the wives out there also have questions. Some of the questions we'll be getting are pertaining to the wives and things like that. So I'll let her do an introduction of herself.
Hi, everybody. Hi, guys. Sandra here. I'm Dre's wife, 17 years and counting. And I'm excited to be on the platform. Thank you for sharing your platform with me.
All right. So I thought it'll be good for us to just have a chat and talk about some of the questions we've been getting. Since we moved here, we've been getting a lot of questions.
Yes.
A lot of people who are interested in maybe relocating to Africa, not necessarily to the Gambia. A lot of people looking to have a vacation home, especially people of African descent. Some of the Africans who are in the US, the UK, they want to expose their children to the African culture. A lot of the things that we had interested in doing with our kids. I wanted us to talk about that today and answer some of these questions. And so should we go right into it?
Sure, let's go.
The first question we get is, why did we move? You want to tackle that?
The official answer that I like to tell people at parties that get people going is that I followed my husband. The Bible says, you're going to leave your father's house and you follow your husband. So I'm here because of you. So why are we here?
Without going too deep and making this such a long video, I would say that each time someone asks me that, I feel like I come up with a different answer.
That's true.
There's so many reasons why we should move back to the continent. But amongst other things, I think that the biggest thing for me, I just felt like it was time. I guess my purpose is how I like to put it. After 25 years for me, probably 24 for you, I just got to a point where I just felt like it was time. Because I mean, we did it all, right? We both did it all. We were in the US, we schooled there, pretty much grew up there. I worked in corporate. So we've gotten to a certain height.
Yeah.
And personally, I just felt I hit my target, or not my target, but my bar.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't get past that. And I was getting into my 40s. And I'm thinking, man, am I going to keep going like this? Am I going to keep working like this? It just feels like you're in some kind of a washing machine. You're just going around and around. I can go into more details, but just to cut it short, I just felt like it was time. And why Africa? For me, obviously, it's where we're from. We had been visiting the continent previously, I guess maybe 2 or 3 years prior to us moving. We went to several countries. And there's just that feeling of coming to a place where you feel like it makes you feel happy. And I remember each time we would visit, maybe we'll go to Ghana, we'll go to Senegal, Lagos.
Yeah.
When we're going back home, we're feeling sad.
At the airport.
We're going back to the US. That's where our kids are. That's where our family is. That's where our home is. And you're going back and you're feeling sad.
That's true.
That to me was a sign that I was not going back to where I belonged anymore. As much as I love it out there, I just didn't feel like I belonged there. So that to me would be the biggest answer. What's your take on that?
That's true, for sure. And I think you were ahead of the curve already. Like, you've been talking about Africa and moving back for a long time. I think I would say maybe probably 10 years before I was ready to go. I think you would have moved earlier. You were sold on the continent for a long time. And I think that it took me a while because I liked America. My business hasn't hit whatever the new number is. There were still other mountains to climb. And so when you were talking about moving, I'm like, why am I going to quit on the pathway? I'm on my way. There's something, we haven't quite reached this American dream, right? And so I moved, yes, to follow you. I say that, but I think my number one reason was for the kids. Because by the time we moved, the tension between the tension with being black was big.
Yeah, that's an interesting move at a critical time.
Yes,
just
right
so
after
much
George
going
Floyd.
around us, politically and even personally.
So I think for me, when I realized, because for a long time, I thought I was raising African boys. And so therefore, whatever was happening, the political tension didn't affect them. And I woke up one morning and I looked at Ethan and he was super tall. And I was like, oh man, wait a minute. He's African, but when the police pulls him over, he's black. And it just hit me. I like, wait, he's black. And so what type of life do I want him to have? Do I want him to have the childhood I had? And that's really why I moved, because I realized, wow, there was so much beauty in growing up and just feeling like you're a person. You may feel like, okay, I'm from this tribe, but you're a person. I didn't think of my race. I didn't until I moved to America and I was filling out a form and they said, what is your race? The concept of race wasn't a thing that I grew up obsessing about. And I was like, what a gift that was for us, because I think that's one of the reasons why we went to America and we thrived, because we had an identity. So for me, the short answer is I moved not because there was anything wrong with America for me as a person. I moved because I wanted my children to have an identity that was rooted in the truth. And to me, the truth is that we are resilient people. We are strong people. We are rich. We are creative. We are all these things that are not always portrayed in the US or abroad.
Funny you mentioned that. Another thing that I wanted to add to it, since we're being transparent, it's important for everyone to know that there was also a financial aspect of it when it came to the decision to relocate, to leave the US. Financially, in the sense that the US, we're working in corporate, we're making six figures. I would like to say we were very comfortable, but the reality was you don't have that much in savings because it's a society, the money comes in, but it goes out just as fast. And then when you have kids, we have 3 boys, when you have kids that are getting up in age, Ethan was already getting to the point where we were starting to think about high school and college and things of that nature. I took my pay stubs to this financial analyst and I gave it to him. I'm like, okay, this is how much I make. These are my assets. These are the things that I have. What are the chances that I can afford to send my child to college in the US and be able to retire, pushing on 40, be able to retire and live comfortably? The honest truth is that this guy looked me in the eye and said, and not because I was struggling at the time, but because when you look at it from a longevity perspective, it was not going to be an easy road. And amongst all the other things that we discussed, I think that to me was the biggest thing, where Africa gave me a second chance at that peak of success that I'm looking for. I really felt that way. And by the grace of God, things are looking really good right now with the businesses and things like that. But coming in, obviously, we didn't know how successful we were going to be, but I just felt like there was something about taking that step that pushed us to the point where we are now. But I didn't want to miss that out because it's such an important thing. Because the reason most people don't move is a financial reason.
Yeah.
They work certain jobs where they don't feel like it will be able to translate once they move to the continent. So anyway, there's so much for us to go over. I don't want us to beat this topic too much.
Okay.
The next question we have is, why the Gambia?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think there were criterias, which is probably the same criterias that the people watching have or are thinking about, because I was the one that needed convincing. So you brought to me some places, right? You were very generous too in, hey, babe, wherever you want to go, we can go, as long as it's on the continent. And we had countries on our list. I love Accra. I fell in love with Accra the minute I went there. But there were things that were important to us in terms of business. How easy is it to start a business in that country? How is it safety? Would I be able to have my kids? Because again, the point wasn't, I wanted to give my children an upgraded life. And I think that's maybe one of the things, we didn't mention this, but that people are afraid of when they're thinking about moving. They feel like it's going to be a downgrade. And I was like, well, no, it depends on what you're looking at, and where you move matters. And so I was like, where are we most likely to have an upgrade? So we're looking at that. So cost of living goes into that, security goes into that, healthcare goes into that, the educational system goes into that, how welcoming are people to foreigners goes into that, and then just the personality of the people, because every place has its own personality, right? So is it more laid back? Is it more aggressive? What's the tempo of the place? So these were the things that we put on our list, but we had to rank them. It's like buying a house. You don't get everything on your list. You will never. And so you have to compromise. And so looking at what are we not willing to compromise and how are we ranking these items was how ultimately we landed. So for me, it was a very strategic, it wasn't an emotional decision. I was very strategic with the checklist. And that's how I was like, okay, Gambia looks like it has most of the things on our. How about you?
That's great. I think for me, I'll take it back to 2015. Like you said, I had the mindset of moving back to Africa long before we made the move in 2020. But 2015, I went to Cameroon. I took time off from work and then I went to Cameroon to try it out. And
risk it all.
After I was there for a year, you didn't go with me, but I was there for a year and things didn't work out. So when I came back and having crossed out my country, my home country, having crossed that out and knowing that, okay, if I were to make a move to the continent, it wouldn't be to the place of my family, my home. And now we had to go to the checklist and start looking at, okay, what are we looking for? What are we looking for from a family perspective, from a financial perspective, from the kids' perspective, cultural perspective? I think for me, that's where it started. So on our list, we had Ivory Coast, where you had family there at the time. Your siblings were there. We had Lagos, and then we had Rwanda.
Yes.
Accra.
Yes.
Accra.
Was like
Right.
number one.
Right. Long story short, we visited all those places, and then we had our dear friend Ismail Abaje, Dr.
Yes.
Ismail Abaje,
Yes.
Gambian, and had just made the move back to Gambia at the
Yes.
time.
Yes.
So he told us, hey, come check out the
Yes.
Gambia. We were in Dakar, and he said, come check out the Gambia. Gambia was not on our list at all. So we came, we flew in from Dakar, and I'm telling you, we were here for what? A week, and we fell in love with the place.
Yeah.
We fell in love with the people. We fell in love with the culture, and for me, it reminded me of where I grew up in Bamenda. It was just such a simple place. I could see what was missing almost instantly.
Yeah.
And for me, the mindset I had moving back to Africa, I didn't want to go to a country that was so developed. I was not looking for development. I was looking for a place where I could go in and put my own stamp on it and show my own presence, mark my own territory. That's really what I was looking for. And then obviously the financial aspect of it, it was not as expensive as the other big cities, the other major cities.
Yes.
To me, that was such a great deal. It's a Muslim country. That was something that we talked about a little bit, but eventually it wasn't a big deal. It's a very liberal country. Muslims and Christians live here, they get along.
In harmony.
And Muslims they celebrate Christmas
more than we
even
do.
more than Christians, right?
Yeah.
That to me was really where it started. And then that day, I remember the day we left and we were heading to the airport, that feeling that we felt, that's how I knew that Gambia was it.
Yes.
But the advantages that I want to mention that Gambia poses is its location.
That's
so
true.
strategically located. We wanted to be in a place where it would be easy for us to, if there were to be any emergency, we would catch one flight and be out of here. From Gambia, we can go to Europe in a couple of hours. We'll be in Portugal in 3 hours, the UK in 4 hours. There's a direct flight to Spain in 4 hours. There's a flight to Paris, 4 hours. At the time, Air Senegal would take you directly to New York. That flight obviously didn't exist anymore, but it was such a huge advantage for us at the time because we knew that if there were, God forbid, any emergencies, anything that needed us to get out fast, we could.
Faster. Some people, like from Maryland to California to LA, I could get to New York faster than somebody in America, even from Maryland to LA. Just perspective, because I think also that's another reason why a lot of people don't move. Typically, we don't move back for all the reasons we know. But I think that there's a lot of misconception about what that life looks like. I think people think that when you move, that's it. Because a lot of time when we go to parties, like if there's a wedding or a friend, something, and we travel to go, people are like, but I thought you moved. There are flights. What do you think? You think I move and I disappeared from the earth? And I think that
it's interesting you bring that up. Prior to us moving, we're not the first to do it. No. So many people did it before us. Years and years, Africans have been going to the US or to the UK and moving back continent. I think what made our own so interesting, I think had we moved to Cameroon, that reaction would not be the same. The fact that we didn't move to our own country, we moved to a different country as Africans, I think it took a little bit of getting used to because it's not something you hear all the time. That was the first thing. And then the second thing is we were very strategic. We knew that the US was still going to play an integral part in our lives. So I think the first 2 years, we were more of a hybrid model. Especially the kids, exactly.
Summer in the US and go often. And so it doesn't have to be all or nothing. I think people really look at this move, and part of the reason why they don't move is this all or nothing thing. It doesn't have to be. I think of the rich people, they have houses in different. How many white people have houses here in Gambia?
Yeah, exactly. That's a great.
Or in Morocco, all over. I don't know why we think that we get to only pick one place and call it home. And hopefully maybe from this conversation, you can start thinking that it doesn't have to be either or. It could really be whatever you want to make it to be. My mom who moved with us is living her best life. Hopefully you can have her on here. She would make you go viral. But she just spent 5 months in the US. But she has relocated. So it can be whatever variation and flavor.
So that you and your family. Yeah. And another thing, we didn't want the kids to feel like it was punishment.
That's true.
Because there's already this narrative. And even as our kids grow up in the US, they have this mindset that Africa is a place of punishment.
Yeah.
When they're bad in the US, that's where we send them to Africa. So we didn't want them to have that mindset. The first year or so was tough for them. But when they went back to the US for the first holidays, I remember the first summer they went, came back, and then now it's normal.
Yes.
Now to them it's the normal thing. Okay, we're going to Gambia.
Yes.
All right. And then summertime, okay, we're going to the US. So I job there with the strategy. Okay, I think we've addressed that topic.
Okay.
So next question, how did we convince the kids?
Oh, I would say really, you want people to buy in. At least that's how we parent, is we like a buy-in, because I think there's nothing worse. Nothing will mess up if you've ever gone on a vacation with somebody that doesn't want to be there. It is the worst. I don't care if you're in Dubai or wherever you are. If you are with somebody that does not want to be there, is the worst experience in the world, especially as a parent. So we knew that, but we also knew that I believe the oil flows from the head. And so I was very conscious that the kids will adjust to our tempo. And so if we complained about our experience when we moved. Then we're going to talk about how we got them. But even when we got here, we were very conscious about if light goes out to not be like, oh my gosh, Africa.
Yeah.
Because we knew they were looking at us. That if we were excited about the place,
Normalized.
then it would be like, oh, I guess if they're not freaking out, why would we freak out?
Yeah.
So we were intentional about that once we arrived. But even before that, we gave everybody a task. I don't know if you remember, but we gave everybody a job. Like, you were in charge of researching schools and you were in charge of researching this. So shout out to our guy. That was on YouTube all the time. We had them watch all the videos on Gambia and start talking about what are the things we should do. So my middle son, who likes to plan, I was like, hey, I want you to map out all the activities we're going to do for the first 3 months we are there. So we really got them to see this as the upgrade that it was. So I'm a business coach. You got to sell. And part of selling is you have to believe in the product. A lot of people want to move, but they don't believe in the product that Africa is. As if you don't believe in the product that Africa is, your kids won't believe it. They won't buy it. They will know, hey, you're saying one thing, but you're feeling a different thing. So we had to buy into it. And once we bought into it, it was easy to sell it to the kids. And we allow for them to share. I'm going to miss my friends. And I was able to share. I remember a conversation with Ethan. It was like, I'm really going to miss my best friends. And I was like, listen, me and Auntie Solène, I left when I was 16 and I miss her so much. At the time, we didn't have WhatsApp and videos and things like that. And so I shared with him, I said, but look at us now, 30 years later of being best friend, we still are best friend. Real relationship, real friendship have to be able to sustain distance. But we allowed for feelings of sadness and we were able to sit with that because we understood it was a big transition, but we didn't just be like, tomorrow we are moving. We didn't do that. Like, it was really a family project. And I'm grateful also for the kids' resilience and that they believed in us and trusted us because they could have, and they were young too. I think there's an age for the people watching.
Yeah.
I think that there's an age, and we knew, which is why we were like, we got to move now. Ethan was 12. I think by the time your child is 15, 16, it's hard. They have a boyfriend, they have a girlfriend, they're in sport. It becomes tougher and tougher the longer you wait. So I think that age too was really very much on our side. Can you imagine trying to get Ethan to move now today at 17?
Impossible.
That's going to be tough.
Impossible.
So that's what I would say. Is there anything I missed?
I think you hit all the major points. Just to add to what you said with regards to how we inform the kids, I think them being a part of the decision-making process was so important.
Yeah.
And I remember the activity where we told them, okay, you research this and you research that. And the next day, Noah was the first one to give me the percentage of Muslims versus Christians in Gambia. I never knew that information. Noah gave that to me. So it was so important for them to feel like they were part of the activity and part of the decision-making process. And the second thing is, when they do move, you have to make them realize they're not really missing as much as they thought they would.
Yeah.
Now, gratefully, the Gambia is a melting pot. There are people here from everywhere.
Yes.
They were able to make friends really fast. Our home
24 hours
became the hangout spot in the neighborhood.
These people.
In less than a week, there were guys in here
All the time.
playing football,
Yes.
playing video games.
Yes.
So I actually gave these kids more of a sense of belonging that they never had when we were in the US. Because in the US, they barely had friends.
Yes.
They had friends in school when they would go. Ethan had friends when they would go to school, but no
And not neighborhood friends.
friends in the neighborhood.
Had like real friends. Like, you knew their parents and you knew there's this community, there's a village that's looking like
I remember the day, I'm going to bring up this story. Our neighbor in Frisco, the son came by. I wanted to play with Ethan. And he said, oh, sure, come in. I'm like, no, my parents said, we can't come in. But our son would go to the house all the time. That's when you were like, okay.
Y'all be playing. You're playing in my...
Let you finish this. That's your story.
Then I was like, then he ain't going to go there either. It got so serious that the mom finally had to accept. And I met with the mom and everything. She was like, yeah, it's just that we had not met and stuff. And I was like, yo, no.
And we're literally next door neighbors.
Next door for years.
More than 5 years.
For years. And it's just the reality of living in those places. I think one thing you also share too is, which is off topic, but one thing that you've shared that I think is important is how sometimes we will live abroad and we are running away from community in a way that other cultures, because you might say Indians are there and they're not moving all the time. What's this thing? Must you move to have this thing we're talking about? But yeah, Indians will take over a whole neighborhood.
They live together.
A whole neighborhood and a whole school. Right? But you were mentioning...
You want to be as far away as possible. If you have a situation where you're moving into a neighborhood and your friend or someone from your community doesn't want you to be in that community because it makes it seem like you have to share the spotlight.
Yes.
Other communities don't mind sharing the spotlight because they know that's what develops the community. That's our strength, unity. Just to think that in our neighborhood there was no other Cameroonian, it's crazy to me.
Yes.
Or not just Cameroonian, African.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Moving on to the next one. schools. A lot of people want to know about the schools. How are the schools here?
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess we'll have to go right out and say that our kids are homeschooled.
Yes.
That's your department. I'll let you speak more about that.
The kids, there are schools, right? So if you're thinking about relocating to Gambia, there are schools. My personal experience, but I have friends that have kids in those schools and they say it's good.
Right.
We have friends that grew up here that went to Marima, Sebek,
Yeah.
but most of them went to Marima. They
Yeah.
speak highly of Marina.
Yeah.
They speak highly of the school. There are some international schools like Sebek, the Turkish school, the British
school is here. There's an American school here.
French school.
Yeah.
So there are institutions here.
I would say for the American school, our idea was to send them to the American school. But I'll be honest, we went there and when we heard the price that we had to pay for public school education that they were getting in the US for free, I was like, hell no.
Yeah.
I'm not paying that. I think about $12,000 or $13,000 per kid, and we had 3
a
year.
And I don't know what
teaching you.
But my take, I'm a bit radical for homeschooling. I don't know many Africans. I think we only know, shout out to Brittany, and who else homeschool? I don't know more than 5 Africans that I personally know that homeschool. So I will say that our take on the educational system is a little bit radical, which is why I decided to homeschool. I don't think it's the path for the majority of people. If you guys want another video specifically on our homeschool journey, we can do that. But yes, there are schools.
There are good schools here. Absolutely. A lot of that live here,
yes.
Their kids go to these schools. Like we mentioned, there's the British school, the Turkish school, there's the French school. I've heard is really good. There's Sebek. We went to Sebek, met with the principal, and then there's Marina and so many others. We can probably attach some of that information in the description.
Awesome.
English Arabic school. Thank you, Abib.
All right. Okay, there's a shout out English Arabic school right here in the building.
The medical infrastructure. A lot of people want to know about the medical system here.
Yeah, healthcare is a thing. I think that as somebody whose family, I would say 30% of my siblings are doctors. My dad is a doctor, has a private clinic in Cameroon and all the things. Healthcare is a big thing, right? It's a conversation we've had for decades in my house. And I think that before we talk about the specific medical system in Gambia, I would say let's zoom out. One of the things I like to tell people is that if I have an open gun shot or stroke and I have to pick where I should be, Africa, nowhere on the continent would be the place that I would pick, right? So now, zooming into Gambia and looking at the healthcare system, I don't have the ratings. I don't know if there are any official ratings, but if I were just, and again, this me never been hospitalized and got here. So again, I'm not a doctor. We can bring in, let us know if you want some doctors to come on and talk. Dr. Ishmael will probably be the best person to really dive deeply on the stands. He has the data, he has the stats.
Shout out to Innoverex.
Shout out to Innoverex Global, who is like global health, changing the game here in the Gambia. But what I would say is if I'm comparing it maybe to Senegal, right, to the healthcare system in Senegal, I would say Senegal healthcare is probably much higher, much better. Because I know people will leave Gambia to go to Senegal to get treated, or go to Ghana to get treated, or Nigeria to get treated. So that should give you an idea of where it ranks compared to other African countries. That is definitely, I would say, a roadblock for a lot of people. Even for my mom, like the older people too, where, okay, but if you have an emergency, what happens? And my mom's idea has been, I'm here and I'll go do my checkup the same way that if I'm in America, I'll go do my checkup twice a year, which is what she does. She goes and does her checkup. Now, she's relatively healthy. So would I tell somebody who has cancer stage 4, God forbid, to move to Gambia? Absolutely not. No. Be where your doctors say you should be and get the treatment you need. Now, the average person who is in their 30s and 40s, and that's the number one thing that they're looking at in order for them to move, they may never move anywhere on the continent. Because if you are comparing your doctor in Frisco and you're asking me, how is the healthcare system in Gambia, what do you want me to say? All of our best doctors are abroad.
It doesn't compare.
Call your friends who are doctors abroad and I give it and let them move back. If only 5% move back, we wouldn't be having this conversation. So our best brains and thoughts and everything have been exported to abroad. What's left? Not saying that we don't have brilliant, amazing. My dad is on the continent. He went to school here. Like, he learned medicine here. But there's also limits in terms of even the, who is going to pay for the, like, they are very expensive. So that limitation, and I shout out to our doctors on the continent, they get a bad rep, but with the limited access that they have, what they're able to do is amazing. So I don't know if that answers the question straight up. I'm not trying to roam around the question.
The short answer is, it depends on where you're looking at.
Yes.
I would agree with you. Nowhere on this continent would I bank my healthcare on. Some would say Nigeria has better healthcare than the Gambia, but you go to Nigeria, Nigerians are complaining.
Yes.
If you go to Senegal, Senegalese are complaining about the healthcare system there, and Gambians are saying Gambians are going there for.
Well,
for
women are
more
also
expensive
complaining about the
methods.
healthcare system in America.
Yeah, exactly. So it's so relative.
Yeah.
But like you said, if you are healthy or relatively healthy and you're not worried about getting sick or anything like that, then you would love it here. If you have things that need to be managed, there's so many awesome doctors that I hear. Some of them are personal friends of mine.
Yes.
And go get adequate healthcare somewhere else
Yes.
if that's what I need to be, because health is wealth.
That's true.
That's what we do. But there are some hospitals here that we've been to that are really nice. Hospital that's here, that's really nice. And then we'll plug some links
Resources.
so people can see.
Okay.
Because even if you're not moving, if you're just visiting, you want to be able to know that healthcare here is good. All right. Security, that's another one.
I think that's a no-brainer. This is the safest place I've been to. Maybe we give the story of our friend who left their cell phone in a car during your 40th and was just like, that phone is, forget it.
Oh, yeah.
Because anywhere else in the world, US included, I don't know who is bringing you back your latest iPhone. So he was like, it's over. And what we told him was, oh, don't you
Worry, it's coming back.
He was like,
So-
there's no way.
So for context, I think it was my 40th birthday.
Yes.
We had friends over from the US, all over the world. We had friends here. And one of our friends left his hotel over to the house
Yes.
and forgot his new iPhone at the
Yeah.
time in the taxi. He was so stressed over that thing. He had just gotten that phone. Shout out to Dr. Carvo.
Yes.
He had just gotten that phone. And we told him, don't worry about it, man. That phone is coming back. No, they're not going to steal that phone.
He laughed.
That same night,
Yes.
the taxi driver brought it back
Yeah.
to that same location.
Yes.
And I think that's
Oh.
about Gambians. It tells you about, not that there are no bad people here.
Yes.
We've been robbed in this place.
When you have this whole security company, shout out to
But,
Five Security.
So there's the good, there's the bad, but we're talking about theft.
Yes. In comparison.
You don't hear about armed robberies. You don't hear about some of those things that we grew up in, growing up in Cameroon, some of the things you would hear.
Mhm.
And then if you need a personal bodyguard, it's here
Foxeye
to-
Security, best security company.
a shameless
Gambia.
plug.
It is a plug. As you should. I don't know.
All right. Security is good here. I think we've addressed pretty much everything else.
Maybe we
I-
conclude with who is the ideal person to, who do we think is the right profile? Who is moving for and not? Maybe that's how we conclude it.
Hmm.
Africa.
Moving is not for everybody. Africa is not for everybody.
Maybe that's a,
So who's it for?
I don't think moving is for everybody. Like, I think that if you are somebody who, it's like I tell people, business is not for everybody. People like the idea of it. People
Mhm.
dream and talk about moving. The truth is where we all agree. And as
Mhm.
Africans, we don't always agree. We agree we don't want to retire abroad. That's one thing. We don't want to die abroad. We don't want to retire abroad. So that's one thing. But I think that what Africa needs is people that are moving with the right mindset. People that are moving not to replicate a system that has oppressed them. We don't need that. Because we see people that move and they're coming in with this superiority complex of, oh, y'all, and it's this y'all conversation versus I look at it like we are basically refugees. Like you left, you ran away. Again, are you sold on the place you are trying to find refuge in? Or do you still think that the place needs saving? Yes, there are difficulties and there are challenges on the continent, but there are difficulties and challenges everywhere. So I push back on the idea that you are coming back here to save something. The people are here, they were here for hundreds and hundreds of years. They're going to be here after you leave. And so I think that it's people that are coming in to co-create. It's people that are coming in respecting has already what's been done and see how can I enhance it? How can I learn the good parts of what I've learned? Because some things have to die, right? This toxic work culture, don't bring this here, especially not in Gambia. The people are going to be like, bro, you better sit down. I'm going to need to pray 5 times. I'm going to need 10 to my family. That's a whole other thing. So I think the right people are the people that have the right mindset, that understand that different does not mean better or worse. It means different, that are willing to take a step back and look and say, okay, what can I learn from this place? Not just what can I change, but what can I learn from this place? Because I can learn from the place and the people and the culture that are going to respect and are going to enhance it. If you are stuck in your ways, if you only buy your grocery from Costco and it's specific milk brand and you can't live without it, then moving is going to be very challenging. If
Can't live without power for less than
if 8 hours,
24 hours.
then don't come. So it has to really be you got to prepare yourself. You got to, because for everybody that moves, there's a story of people that move and move back,
Absolutely.
which is why we are doing this podcast, because we want to say,
People are still waiting for us to move back.
there are people that are banking. There are people that are, oh, they have moved. They're always in America. I'm like, but for the people that are ready, that feel the pull, which I'm assuming is most of the people that are watching the video, it's the best decision that you can ever make in whatever version you do, whether it's spending 2 months here and the rest of the time you are working as a medical doctor, whether it's 50-50 until you retire, whatever your version, your flavor is, I think that was the best decision. It saved our sanity. It enhanced our marriage. We should get the kids on here to tell the truth. They might tell a different story, but I believe that he has enhanced their life in ways that we are not even able to account for yet. Yeah.
You hit on everything. I'll just add that when we moved here, I don't know that we thought about how long we're going to live here. And to me, if you are like me, where you take life challenge at a time, one step at a time, then it's something that you should definitely try.
Yeah.
Even if it's only for a year.
Yes.
It will fuel something else. It's indescribable.
I love
now 4 years, I can comfortably call Gambia home. But who knows? 2 years, 3 years down the line, you might find out Ghana.
We may do another video
next year. And then before you know it, Rwanda. I just felt like it was time for us to experience life. And I think Gambia gave us a first soft landing to that experience. And for you or for anyone watching, it may be Ghana, it may be Nigeria, it may be, but just be open to the experience. Take all of it in. That's what I would say.
I love that. Thank you.
But you're right. Africa is not for everybody. And everyone should not move because we need the money that's coming from there. We need the investment that's coming from there because to get Africa to where we want it to be, to the point where the kids that we're working with now don't have to move. The kids we're raising and mentoring now do not have to move. Do not have to leave. We need that investment. We need those brains to stay there, work that money, and then leverage us who are on the ground and who have knowledge of the ecosystem to help them get to where they want to go from a business perspective. Because one thing about those guys, a lot of them want to give back. One of the things that's keeping Africa going is remittance. It's people sending money back home. So it's not like they're just sitting there doing nothing. They are always sending money back home. They're always taking care of family. That has a role to play as well.
That's true. And so for the people, I know that for softer landing, because people have horror stories, right? People have tried to invest back home and have had all these negative stories and things, people stealing money and all that stuff. I know that with this channel, one of your goals is to help people have a softer landing and have somebody on the ground that, understand the rigor of the West and what's needed and communication and all the things that may be lacking and can be that translator, that consultant, their eyes on the ground. So how do people get in contact with you? SIM card, what do you mean? SD card. Yeah.
All right, no. Well,
yes. So give your contact.
Let's continue.
Yes.
Let's continue.
What's your contact?
This platform is Build Africa Now.
Yes.
And the idea here is to not just showcase Africa. We're here to have these real conversations. We're here to have this real talk on some of the opportunities that are available here. For me, relocating was not just about packing and coming to Africa. It was basically reimagining my life and transforming it. If you're that person and if that's what you're thinking about and you feel that it's time for you to do that, you can always reach out to us. We can talk about it. We can help you navigate that whole process because I know how overwhelming it can be.
Absolutely.
Everyone is not at that point yet.
That's true.
Everyone is not at that point yet. And we genuinely respect that. And that's why we have this platform to share some of these stories. There will be more of this to come. If you guys have any more questions, anything that you felt like we didn't address, please send us an email in the comment section.
Yes.
We'll be sure to address these topics. If you want Mrs. Sandra Kimayo to come back to this platform, please ask these questions. And yeah. So Sandra, tell us, how was this experience for you?
I'm like, this is why we vibe. I guess that's why we go together. You know what I'm saying? Truly vibe. But I wanted to also say thank you because again, like without you and your vision and your just boldness, we wouldn't be here. Because I can imagine the pressure of being the person that came up with the idea. Because if anything goes wrong, it was your idea. And for us, it wasn't an almost move. It was like we sold everything, turned over the house, and like it was all or nothing kind of thing. And it was a big leap. And I really want to say thank you for having that idea, for being patient. Because like we say, it wasn't he told me, let's go. And I say, oh, I'm a Proverb 31 woman. Let me just, no, it was years and you being patient and convincing and really like being available to us made the move. Like I wouldn't have ever moved by myself. I talk a big game here. I'll be in Frisco. But because of you and knowing that you can make, you are the people, yeah, the people champ. Like you can make friends everywhere. I knew that we were in good hands and I trusted you. So it made trusting you in this move so much easier. And so thank you so much for giving my mom the second lease of life, giving me peace and the space and the help. We can talk about our staff. People want to know like how many staff. We can talk about that next time. But giving me support and help so that I could be the type of mom I've ever only dreamt of, the business owner that my business exploded from being here. That's another podcast for another day. But if it wasn't for you and your vision, I'll still be stuck in the rat race. So I want to say thank you, babe. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I love you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you as well, and the kids for believing, right? Because if you said no, I don't know that this would have happened. It only happened because you said yes. So I really appreciate that. I think it's important that when you have good communication and you're able to talk about the vision and the dream and the plans for the family and the goals and things like that together, and both people buy in, I think it's the most important thing. Because you saying yes opened up the windows for everything that transpired beyond that. And it's not been rosy. I think we can talk about that some other time. There have been so many challenges.
Yes.
So many challenges since we moved here. There have been so many challenges. But I think overall,
Yes.
when you look at what we've gained,
Yes.
I think I would do this 10 times over. And
I love that.
over again. And I would do it with you guys.
Oh,
Because it just makes it even more fun and more purposeful. For the rest of you guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed the conversation. If you have any more questions, like I said earlier, please comment, share this content. We'll get better as we go along. I'm new to this YouTube thing, but I see the value that it has the potential to bring. So I'm dedicating myself to that. If there's anything else that you guys want to see, that you guys want us to address or talk about, please contact us or put it in the comments and we'll be sure to address those topics. Thank you so much and see you on the next video.
bye.